Assalamu alaikum everybody and hello, welcome to Nakashwa Spele.
You have to do the clap thingy.
Okay.
Sync it up.
It's in every... No.
Yeah,
It's
nah.
like...
Khalas.
every time he
I
does
did the
it,
intro
it's
3
like-
times already. Assalamu alaikum brothers and sisters and hello, welcome to another episode of Buckle Up and Man Oh Man. We've been trying to do this intro for a while, so I just want to get into it. But peace and blessings. Like I said before, Buckle Up has definitely gave me an opportunity to get to know guys I look up to on a more like up close, personal, level. I've learned from these guys, and the person I have with me today is somebody I definitely can relate to a lot. I've learned things from him, even though he doesn't know that I learned. I've been watching him, and it's really amazing. He's the co-founder of an incredible network event called My Friends, Your Friends. He has an amazing podcast with Fatman Scoop called Other People's Podcast, OPP. Co-founder of VaynerWorld. Overall an international really entrepreneur in his own way, a kick-ass personality if I may say, and most importantly for me, the way I relate to, he's a hip-hop head from number one. I know you know this one,
Of course.
the one and only Raj Kotecha. Did I say the name right?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, my brother, my
How
man.
Are you?
How are you, man?
I'm beautiful.
Thank you
I
so
feel
much.
amazing.
Wallah, thank you so much for your time, and shout out to everybody, your team, yeah, I can't wait to have this buckle up with you. So you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Now you can buckle up.
Nice.
Yeah. So now we're buckling up to Can I Kick It? Okay. Just off the top, I just saw an incredible video that will be dropping hopefully soon. Amazing.
Yeah.
Won't give away much, but Dubai, be ready. I want to start off with you were giving away flyers in Manchester in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I want to know from you. Back then, when you were giving away those flyers, like, first of all, how old were you, and what were you? We're looking back at this right now. What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
I was 18 when I was handing out flyers, and
Okay.
looking back at that time right now, the first thing that comes to mind is how easy it is, and the fact that I would have to, if I'm not working in the club that night, I'd have to get up at 1:30, 2:30, cycle all the way to the club, avoid all the scary people, and flyer. Right now I can pull out my phone, go on IG stories, be like, hey, I'm going to be in this bar at this time. Anybody who wants to join me, please come and join me. It's how easy it is, how scalable what I did then is, and how much distribution power I have for my message I have in my pocket in my smartphone, because that's what a promoter does.
Yeah.
They promote. There's something, there's a moment, there's an object, there's a time, there's a product, and a promoter's job is to draw attention to it. And the first thing I think of is how easy that is in a 2020 world versus 1998, which is when I first was in the streets.
On a personal level, you lived, your parents they had a shop. You lived above it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep,
You lived, mashallah, with 7 people
Yeah.
in the house.
Yeah.
I wanna, I'm trying to understand the environment. You said something that really kind of sparked something. We have it in Arabic a lot. You don't often get the drive unless it's born out of necessity. Something in Arabic, al-haja al-ikhtira. If you don't need it, you might not go born with it. Do you feel, because of the way your life was, that you are the person right now, who you are right now, because of the difficulties you went through?
Yeah, I mean, there was a couple of things. One is that some of the kids I went to school with, if they wanted sneakers, they got sneakers. If they wanted to go on a school trip, the school trip was paid for by the parents. For me, I had to raise that money for a period of time. Yeah. So there's that, and there's also the fact that if your dad's a musician, you become a musician. If your dad is a tennis player, you've got an advantage in tennis. My dad, from the moment I can put even a single thought together, had a shop. So there's pictures of me on my grandfather's lap or behind the counter with my grandfather at 4, 5, 6 months old. All I know is the cash register ringing, different customers coming in, people buying magazines, people buying milk, people buying cigarettes, people buying birthday cards.
Nice.
So in a way, yes, definitely necessity, because I wanted nice things, and I think that hip-hop's responsible for that, because there's a lot of bragging in hip-hop, and that makes me go, okay, well, that's a Lexus, and this is a Rolex, and da-da-da. Not that I necessarily wanted those things, but I was like, I understood that the disconnection between having those things and where I was when I was in Manchester in the 80s and 90s was money.
When you're talking about shops like that, I mean, I guess I have to shout out my brother's Dukan. That meant a lot, having the podcast like that, right? Dukan shop. That was
for real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was on the Dukan podcast and I dropped some gems on there as well.
I know,
like, shout out to them. I love those dudes.
Yeah, amazing. Definitely shout out to them. One of the things that you were mentioning in obviously in Dukan, the McDonald's story, and we don't want to get into it a lot, but I want to ask, why do you think, in your opinion, people resonated with that? Because that kind of clip went kind of...
In Dubai, that went crazy.
Yeah. You know, like you got rejected by McDonald's 3 times, and I'm gonna win and all that.
Yeah.
In your opinion, Azarel, what do you think the youth got from that? Why were they so?
I think that I don't know, prior to me coming to Dubai, if there was that voice, and I don't know if there still is.
Okay.
So I don't know who is actually walking around in Dubai positive with their chest puffed out. There's a lot of complaining, and there's a lot of people that are keeping it super on the low.
Correct.
But I don't think there's people that are not complaining, as in being positive, as well as being very public about how they're winning and how they're being successful. I am ultra positive all the time, and I am very quick to tell someone, hey man, I see where you're going. If they ask me for my advice, I'm like, make an adjustment here, it might be better for your brand. Or make an adjustment here, you might get more money. And I know there's lots of good brothers and sisters here in the Middle East that do that on the low. I do that very publicly.
Yeah.
You know, the Q&A that we did recently at FundDXB, I say to people before I do Q&A, ask the most selfish question and let the people around you benefit from your question. Don't try and come up with a question that the crowd will applaud you for. Ask a question from the heart, because you may not get another chance to ask me again.
True.
So let's get this figured out right now, and let's get you where you want to go, because I've already won. I've already beat life. So I want other people to feel like how I feel every single day. That's my selfish motive. If you felt 10% of what I feel when I wake up in the morning, your life would just be like...
How does that feel when you wake up in the morning?
Bro, real talk. I sometimes get complaints from my girlfriend that I'm hard to deal with in the morning, because I wake up, I literally get out of bed, clap my hands, and I'm like, I'm the best. Because if I wake up in the morning, I'm feeling very creative. So
every day?
Every day. When I wake up, I go to bed thinking,
I'm going to try that tonight.
Yeah, I'm like, how am I going to deal with this problem, man? There's a delay with this visa, there's this, there's that, this document is late, and this video has been edited wrong, and all the things that happen when you're doing when you're running a creative agency. I wake up in the morning, fresh mind. As soon as I wake up, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 problems solved. So of course, by the time my feet touch the ground out of the bed, I'm happy that the creativity has washed away all the previous days, like problem solving. And of course I'm gonna be in a good mood. Man. And I'll play a record like that, Tribe Called Quest. I'll play some Nipsey Hussle or something. Man, get my head in the zone, have a shower, rest in peace, Nipsey, and then I'm just good to go. And then the whole day, from when I step out the house until more recently 10, 11 o'clock when I get back in, it's all hype.
Man, creative content agency. Tell me about that. You're the CEO of that, and tell me more about it, and what led you to obviously put it out. You wear so many hats, bro. Like, I'm so proud of you, and this is why I relate. Like, you're a DJ, you're an event organizer, you're obviously into content, you're technology, entrepreneurship, and like, you wear so many hats, and that's amazing. That's diversity. But I've heard you say that all these things are interconnected, and we'll come back to it. But tell us about creative content agency a bit.
So creative content agency is where two things kind of touched in my lives. One was that, yes, I've been a DJ since 1998. I started taking it really seriously in 2005 when I moved to London, and that's when we did things like the Russell Peters after party and so on. So what I realized at that point is I was doing the DJing thing, and at the same time I've always had at least 2 lives. So at the same time I joined a company in Los Angeles which was called Paid Content, which very famously sold to The Guardian for millions of dollars. I was employee number 6. So when I was in New York and LA, I'd be at the Waldorf Astoria in the day in New York and Harlem at night. Or I'd be in like the Huntley Hotel in Santa Monica in the day and Inglewood at night with Glasses Malone, who's just released this.
Yeah, he just was.
He just released a Tupac Must Die video.
Yeah.
So shout out to him. Much love to him. He's shown me crazy love. He's such a nice guy.
It's crazy. I just messaged him yesterday. He replied back. Yeah,
he's a great, and he replied back. Yeah. Because he's such a nice lad.
Yeah, nice.
He's such a regular fella. Yeah.
But it's also controversial with the, what he was saying. He was saying there was a video about him saying that Snoop Dogg paved the way to Tupac.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of.
And he doubled down on that in Brilliant Idiots as well. If you're the latest Brilliant Idiots, when that video comes out, that clip will definitely go viral. I should probably make it to him to say thanks for the dinner that you took me for.
Wow.
So I'd be in Santa Monica in the day, and
Okay.
I'd be in Inglewood like at night with him, and just having these incredible like corporate and hip hop experiences at the same time. And what was amazing about that whole period is that as I was making content, whether I was in London or New York or LA, I would meet like a Collie Buddz or a Pharrell or a whoever you want,
Pharrell.
right? Yeah, and
You
then
met Pharrell?
yeah, and I put the images out, and I put the pictures out and the videos, and just to show my friends like, wow, man, like look what's really happening here.
Yeah.
It wasn't to stunt on the internet. It was like, I can't believe this is happening. Let me put it out. So that was before it was called content. So what happens is people see the content, understand that you're living your truth as a DJ, and then as a result of that, they're like, okay, if I'm gonna pay a DJ over here £150 a night, which is say 750 dirhams, or am I gonna pay this guy over here who's actively collecting up hip-hop moments as he goes around the internet, as he goes around the world and puts it on the internet, am I gonna pay him $1,250 or $1,500? I was like, the more content I put out, the more committed I am to the culture. So then I started interviewing the artists.
Yes.
So now if I'm in New York and LA, of course I can have private conversations with David Banner, or I can record it and show all my friends back home. So what I realized is the connection between putting out free content and seeing my DJing business go up. I had some friends in the e-commerce industry, and when that company that I worked for in LA sold to The Guardian for millions of dollars, I got a little payout. I realized that the thing I enjoyed doing the most was making content, and I'd already figured out that making content in the corporate world works, and when you're doing it for yourself as an artist, it works. So why don't I create content? I didn't want to build a business at the time. Ironically, I have a bigger business now, and I was like, I want to create content. I want to be an agent of creating content. Boom, creative content agency.
Ooh.
That's how we ended up here.
Man, one of my favorite, like when I was, looking at your YouTube channel, is Evidence. Man, that many
bless you.
people, man,
Yeah.
I just can't. You're right. I mean, all these, and obviously Wu-Tang. That you sit down with RZA talking about the mixtape that was also put together. It was all over, hip hop. Looking back at these things, bro, do you realize what you were able to do? Like,
No, because
just go outside the box a little bit, like you said, and like, whoa.
No.
I was able to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
20 years in, when I started putting together websites and bios and things like that, now that I've become like Raj Kotecha entrepreneur, people ask you for bios, so you have to comb through your past and pull stuff up. So that's when I realized more. But like the reason why I say no, I didn't realize at the time is because a lot of these weren't my ideas. Like going and making content with the Wu-Tang Clan was my idea.
Yeah.
But pushing that to a whole other level of actually making a mixtape with them, the Golden Chamber.
That was DJ.
That was DJ Friction.
Yeah, Friction.
Yeah. So he was like, one night, he was like, we had 2 nights with the Wu-Tang
I
Clan.
love how gutsy you guys were. That's the point.
Well, he takes the
Guts,
all-time
yeah,
gutsy award for that one. So he was like, tomorrow when we see RZA and them, I want to pitch them a mixtape. I was like, no, let's not overstep our mark. Long story short, he pitched me the idea. I got swept into the whole slipstream, which was very common at that time because Friction would come up with these crazy ideas and we'd end up doing them. But I did come up with a name. I was like, if we're going to do a golden era tape, let's not call it the golden era, let's call it the golden chamber.
Chamber, baby,
Because that's their metaphor, right?
Of course.
Wu-Tang's metaphor is different chambers. So I'm very proud of that, and he mixed it. We came up with the sequencing and the song selection. He did a phenomenal job, myself and Vic. So at the time we didn't realize, bro, what's crazy is at the time it was normal.
Yeah, but I hear you, but there's a lot of people that do mixtapes, but to do a mixtape like that, it was, I think, something historic. Listen, man, with an interview with Esquire, you said, the me of today, that's one big blend of knowledge, skills, drive, and passion. And that's how I know that whatever I end up doing, I can win, right? If you can talk to your younger self now, what would you say on that practical advice? He's silent.
I think there was I had so much energy and so much gusto that I would probably say, like, recognize earlier when something isn't working and pull out, and recognize when something is really working and double down. So I'd have probably spent more time on the West Coast and not just LA, but I'd have probably tried to spend more time heading up to Northern California and San Francisco, establishing more relationships. But the weird thing is, at the time, like I'd be in a room with, MySpace, which was a huge social network back in the day, of course.
Yeah.
Google had just bought YouTube. News Corp bought MySpace, Facebook, Twitter. They're all in the room, and I wasn't quite alert to what was going on because maybe my attention was thinly spread. And maybe if I'd removed 25% of the things that had my attention, for example, trying to start a clothing line and all the other things I was involved in, and double down on stuff which was really getting me a high yield, which I didn't realize at the time, then that would probably be the advice I would give myself, in the sense that I wouldn't reverse any of those because the effect would be different of who I am today. But if I met somebody younger right now, I would force them to be. One thing I say to people, this is mad, you must get this in the hip hop game, right? When you meet young people in this industry and you go, what do you do? And they go, I do everything, bro. I rap, I dance, I make music videos, I do graphics. And what I say is cool, but I'm here looking to figure out how we might be able to do business together. So how about I ask you again, tell me the 3 things that make you the most money. Because that's where I'm gonna go. If you're saying that I rap and I dance and I do graphics, and they're the 3 things that are getting you the highest ROI, well, you're already passionate about them. That's already baked in. But whatever you're doing that's making money, let me help you make more money, because with the money that we'll make together, that will buy you more freedom. It will bring you more resources. And then you can double down on idea 4, 5, and 6, so that ideas 4, 5, and 6 can become as big as 1, 2, and 3.
Man. Okay.
Does that make sense, or is that a bit weird?
No, I'm going to try to provoke that again, push it even more.
Yeah.
See, people like, obviously, we talked about it, I think you guys talked about it across, when you speak motivation, okay? Motivation is every person has his or her own path. So whatever you can tell me, it will motivate me, but it will not really realistically work. You know what I mean? Like, I know that everything that you and Gary say, for example, amazing, I'm pumped up, but then I cannot find it to put it in what's actually bothering me or make it work for me.
So what do we need to make work for you? Let's get into it. Like, that's probably the best value you can offer, is asking what you need to know the answers to, and then we can either solve it now, or we can jump out the car and over the next few weeks we can invest in it and solve it.
No, it feels to me that sometimes it's just, I'm not gonna say it's general, like how you're pitching it, but obviously this is what you do, in the agency, you sit down and you try to make things happen.
But I'm being specific. I'm like, I'm saying for the type of person who feels like they do everything and they're over diverse, based on my past, to help make a decision, let's come up with the 3 things that make the most money.
Okay.
Not the 3 things that take up the most time, not the 3 things that you're most passionate about, but let's grab more money out of what's working and invest it into the things that might be working slightly less, so that you end up with more things that are working. I.e., if you do 6 things, let's make more money on items 1 and 2, so that we can prop up number 3. Now you're making money on 3 things. Now let's use the revenue from 3 things to prop up 4 and 5. Now you're making money on 5 things. Now let's use that money to prop up 6, and now you've got a really nice portfolio of businesses or brands that now can all support each other. Like you were saying, I've got a bunch of brands that all support each other. I've got OPP with Fatman Scoop. That's a great conversation starter when I'm working with brands. I've got Raj Kotecha. That's a great question podcast.
Amazing.
That allows me to go in depth with like the C-level folks, as well as the Mopreem Shakurs and the other people that have been on that show. My Friends, Your Friends allows me to bring 300 to 500 people in the city out to literally come out, shake hands, hug, take selfies, real human connection. Creative content agency. And I know we've got other brands as well, but like the other things that we're launching that will all tie into each other. But it was a time where it was only creative content agency. So I tripled down on that, raised the revenue, invested in My Friends, Your Friends, built that up, got more revenue for creative content agency, launched OPP, made that work, launched Raj Kotecha. That's a great question.
What has been the most difficult thing you faced? Like, I'm interested to know. Okay, you're a positive person. You're the best. You're going to win. That attitude, amazing. I really salute you for that. But what has been something that you're, for example, I'll tell you my case. For example, I left Saudi Arabia for my son who's autistic, and obviously that's been a big, not a hit, because I believe that God doesn't give you something you can't handle. But obviously it's shifted, and now with the way things are going in Saudi, I really feel I should be really way more involved than I am just now, really, because I really did music underground and stuff like that. Anyway, so that was really difficult for me to do that, but I look at my son and I go like, he's really just worth everything. I don't care. I just want to make him, win. And I had to somehow lose in order for him to win, but in my mind, I'm a winner. You know what I mean? So in your case, what has been something that you can share with us? It's been very difficult. You felt like, I can't do this.
What are you losing out on in Saudi?
Man, like a lot of things right now. Like obviously, the entertainment industry is really on a blowout, and I just wanted to be part of the whole system. I am part of it now, but not in a essence.
Can you do that on 3 days a month, being in Saudi?
Yeah, I mean, this is I've been trying, but it's it's a difficult thing to pitch. I do have a couple of things coming up, but it's just really. What I'm trying to say is that I launched the beat in Saudi, and that was in 2012.
Yeah.
Back then, the religious police were like, no, that.
Yeah.
And I did all these events. I used to get 400, 500 people that paid 300 dirhams a ticket just to come and attend local artists.
Yeah.
Because the rent was expensive. The rent for the place that we used to get was 40,000 dirhams. People wouldn't take advantage of it. You know,
and people aren't drinking booze as well.
No.
So
There's
it's all cash up front.
There's no drinks in my events anyway. Also, like that is just coming in to see the local scene. And now, just yesterday, a friend of mine, she's singing in a coffee shop in Jeddah,
Wow.
Saudi Arabia, and that for me is like, whoa, okay. I really wanted to be part of that because it was something I could definitely make a lot of money. People that used to work in restaurants and burgers are right now hosting events.
Wow.
They're my friends. I know them.
Right.
Like, you don't know nothing about an event.
But can they fly the flag for you whilst you're not there?
That's what I've been trying.
Like a franchise model?
I felt in a way that they're, not pushing me out, but I really need to do my thing. And I was able to host the first rap commercial, concert there. I pushed myself through it.
Yeah.
And I hosted it. It was a rap show.
Is the audience size not bigger for you here? Even if the budgets are bigger there?
Look, that's a very good question. My heart belongs. I think Jeddah has always been my home, and I feel like
You're from Saudi? You're born and raised there?
Yeah. So it's something, He
So you're a Saudi
he does that really
Arabian.
good. That's flipping. That's really good.
Yeah.
I'm from Saudi.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm from Jeddah.
And you're so authentically hip hop.
I love hip hop.
And yet you're from Saudi.
Yeah.
That's just like
when
beautiful.
I went to this New York media exchange program. I was offered a scholarship, so I went for the first time ever into America at that time. It was like 9 years ago or so, and then they asked. I had people with me from Russia, Spain, Portugal, India. There's so many people, and then they asked at the end, who's the most person that affected you and impacted you and really changed stereotypes? It was 95% me.
Yeah.
So, this guy likes basketball. He doesn't look Saudi. Likes hip hop.
Yeah. Because brand Saudi is so skewed naturally the other way.
True.
That if you come in with even one of those three elements, you're smashing a really big macro stereotype.
Yeah.
But not to avoid the question.
But going back to you, what has been like something that you can share with us really? And I want you to go as personal as you can. Like, man, you're a human being first before you become anything. Really, sometimes we all feel that, oh man, the whole weight is on my shoulders, whether it's money, finances, life, relationships, whatever it is. Sometimes you can't really do it. What has been that? Because you were able to break so many barriers. Has there been a moment like that in your life?
I mean, if we go back to the McDonald's example, like clearly the night of, or the week following, or the month following, wait, why can I not fit in here? How can I not get a job at McDonald's? And how can I I went to a business games with Deloitte. I believe it was Deloitte or Ernst & Young, one of the guys. And what they did is they had a draft at my school.
Okay.
And they said, listen, open draft, we're looking for graduates. We're going to put you in groups. We're going to do some solo exercises. Anybody can walk in, regardless of what course you're doing. So I went there, washed everybody, smashed it. I was like, okay, cool. I get to apply for a job now, right? And they were like, yeah, sure, apply via the website. I was like, all right, maybe there'll be a code or something like that, because I've in front of you, in front of the recruiters, I have just annihilated actual human beings when it comes to business.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, you just got to apply through the website. I was like, all right, cool. Do I need to put any reference in there or anything like that? They were like, no, just put in your A-level results. And I was like, well, my A-level results are C, D, E, and N, which is lower middle to bottom, right?
Wow.
N is not a common, N is not even A, B, C, D, E, right? It's below.
Okay.
So once I realized that, I was like, well, what's the point in stunting in front of recruiters and people that are interviewing me and showing off my best if it's not going to lead to anything because of some metrics that I don't control, like what A-level results have you got? So I remember thinking to myself at that time that, man, there's a bit of an injustice here. But my cousin, who lived with me for a long time, he now lives back in the States. He always said to me that every single time I was like, I'd hit a wall. He goes, I'd turn into that guy again, which is basically like, fuck you. Like, okay, fine. If there's not a system, it's not that I'm gonna be down. This is a signal from God or the universe or whatever energy you believe in. That, yo, this is the time you're gonna have to go and build something, bro. They're not gonna let you in. You're gonna have to build something. If you really want this, like you can have I don't know, like the guy in the ark. What's the guy who built the ark in the Bible?
What? Noah?
Noah, like like you can have an ark like everybody else, but you're gonna have to build yours. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I hear it.
And it's so crazy because like you see all these other people, and it's wild because all the way through my 20s and all the way through my 30s, even to this day, there are people still working for companies that maybe I aspired to work for when I was 18, 19, 20, that now are leaving depressed with like depression, or they're going through their first or maybe second divorce.
Man.
And I'm like, man, all that was a near miss. It's like literally missing a bus and then finding out that bus was involved in a car accident. Do you know what I mean? I
feel
missed that bus. Yeah,
You
for
feel
real. Yeah.
Really?
I would not
You think
trade.
about it?
There's no guy in a job right now in some corporate company that has the same energy and upside and positivity feeling that I have every day. If you're asking, and there's no disrespect to them, but if you're like worried about if you can go on holiday with somebody until your line manager says it's okay, or can I take a longer lunch today because I need to work through a creative idea for your job, or maybe you've just lost someone in your family, you need that extra 15 minutes that lunch just to process it and mourn it, and you can't because you signed a contract that says I'm going to do this for this company, you've lost.
Wow, man.
Is that real or is that
no,
real?
no. Actually, that's very, very real.
Yeah.
But I really salute you for that. I think the point I was trying to make across is sometimes all of us and some people are watching right now, they gotta do that job because it's the only money making kind of thing, and they have no, to let go to whatever. Like for example, in my case, I'll be very honest with you, and I get a lot of backlash at this, by the way, and I think this is the first or second time I mention it on public. When I did my radio show in Saudi, Les Hip Hop, I had to fight for 6 months for the radio station to approve it. It was not playing music. At that point, 2 radio stations opened, they're more young. I pitched to one of them. They said, okay, after 6 months. Long story short, it's a hip hop radio show talking culture, blah, 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 blah. I got called a kafir in the first one, saying I'm an infidel, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then
that's a real disrespectful word in Arabic, isn't it?
But the trick part is this. My salary for that show was $200. But I worked in media. I worked as a sales rep.
Okay, yeah.
So my sales rep gave me the money so I can feed my family.
Yeah.
And this one was something I can build for the culture.
Yeah.
Not everyone has that. And that's why when I go on radios and stuff like that and say, yo, you gotta fight to play local artists on the radio. You gotta fight. Majority of the DJs and the radio hosts hate that because that's their job. I cannot fight as the other radio host. I cannot fight my station to put local artists because they might fire me. I didn't care if they fire me or not. I was like, you gotta play local artists and you gotta push that and push that and push that. This is the way it is. If you don't like it, don't like it. And they're like, okay, we like it. I'm like, okay, it worked. So the trick part is that taking that risk, I think. And that's why most of the radio hosts, they tell me, yo, but Has, you have other source of income. Radio host is my only job. I'm gonna protect it.
Listen, but here's the thing. I'm not trying to make out at any point that having a job is a negative, because on the flip side, I wake up every day with no idea on the 30th of that month how much money I'm going to pull out the game.
But isn't that difficult? That's what I'm saying.
So there is a certain relaxation that comes with knowing what your salary is. So if you're prepared to trade your lunches and your holiday timings around a bigger machine, which is your company, and you get a salary for that, and that makes you, and this is important, that makes you happy,
content,
then God bless you.
Okay.
And I wish you more power. For me, without the stress and without the anxiety of knowing that if what I don't kill, I don't eat, without that, I wouldn't earn a penny. In a company, I would not earn a penny because there is no motivation for me to take part in that system. But if you take every single penny away from me and say, right, go start an agency, go DJ, go start this, go start that, and then the reward is at the end of that rainbow, that's the system that I work within. I can't, if you take me out of that system, I'm a fish out of water. And you put a human fully underwater, they're gonna die. It just depends on what kind of species you are. I'm not a fish looking at people that live outside water being like, oh, having a job is whack. Like, that's cool, do your thing. But it's not the system for me.
For you.
And there are people that look inside the fishbowl and go, well, I want to be an entrepreneur. And there are entrepreneurs that are like, damn, I committed to being an entrepreneur, but I really need this steady paycheck. I wanted to rebel or create my own lane, have my own arc, but now I want to get that steady paycheck. And the good thing about the world we live in today is that it's often not difficult to shift. It's often not difficult after a certain point to leave that job and go and create your own thing. And it's also not difficult, and we shouldn't like point the finger at failure. If somebody's an entrepreneur, tried it for 14 months, didn't work out, there was a cushy job waiting at McKinsey & Co for them, and they just went and took it, and now all of a sudden they're back on 105,000 dirhams a month. It really doesn't matter.
Wow.
What matters is, how do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Can you live with yourself, and do you understand that with the 80 or 90 years you get, God willing, on a great life, you might get 90 years.
Yeah.
Are you getting, is every day looking like it's the kind of day that you want to have? Because they don't last forever.
I know. I mean, this is very important. Raj, what's something that is secretly on your bucket list for you? Something you crave.
Tokyo.
Tokyo?
Yeah.
What?
The one thing I haven't done.
What?
I just want to go to Tokyo.
Okay. Oh, you haven't been to Tokyo yet?
I haven't been to Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah, I just want to go to Tokyo. It's so weird. Like, every single thing that I want to do kind of gets done, but Tokyo just always seems to slip through. So I don't know why I've not
Get
been.
into Tokyo, brothers.
Yeah,
this is out there.
anybody who wants me to come to Tokyo, like, I'll come, like, for expenses only. Like,
Okay.
it's no problem. But, like, I mean, that's if you want me to do something for you. Otherwise, I'll just get my money
Why
up and
Tokyo?
go. I don't know. Everybody who's spoken about it, I like their energy when they speak about it.
Yeah.
Everything I've seen on the internet, I superficially look at and go, that looks pretty fun. Japanese people who I've met, I'm like, you guys seem pretty cool. I just think I'd just like to go over there, and I hope that I don't go there and hate it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just look at Tokyo and go,
Yeah.
that looks pretty radical. That looks like it's on the fringe of how an extreme city should be. And I just want to go kick it for a little while, like go to the club, eat some food,
Man.
hang out with some local people. I hear that they don't speak much English there, but however you catch a vibe with them is however you catch a vibe with them. Tokyo's on my bucket list, yeah.
Nice. Okay. Hopefully it will
That's
happen
such a
for you.
basic answer for me.
That is.
It's just
I love it.
I want to go to Tokyo.
And that's good.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, right.
No one's ever asked me that. That's such a...
Really?
Yeah, and
Okay.
no one's ever asked me a question which I can just answer with one word.
That's good.
Tokyo.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's okay. You just inspired me to ask you something else as well. Does everyone eventually get their success stories? Like, eventually, that you believe that? Like, for example, I'll give you an example. This guy behind me, Azarel. I think he's one of the most a talented fella, really. You know, he's like really focused. A lot of people I see over here, like, you know, whether it's the rappers that we know, artists that we know, there's a lot of people that sometimes, I'm not going to say doubt that they're going to be successful, but you see they can be successful, but it's just maybe either taking time, or do you think as Raj, as somebody who's seen success, as somebody who's seen talent that no one knows and now they're like great, right? Do you see everyone will get their own success story in their own way? Yes or no?
There's two answers. One, it depends on how you define success.
Okay.
Right? A really easy way to define success is from where I started to where I am right now. Is that gap big enough for me to feel good about myself?
Okay.
But number two, the reason why I think that there might be people complaining about the hip hop market here in the Middle East, in the region, and quote unquote defining success, is that I don't feel, and correct me if I actually thought this was something I wanted to think through, I would call you or OT or someone and be like, help me think this through.
Okay.
But I don't feel like people in Dubai or any of the artists that I've met are actually just learning from markets that are 5 to 10 years ahead and being like, how did you guys do it?
No.
Let me give you an example.
Yeah.
That clip that you just saw, right? You saw me in the newspaper.
Yes.
Right? That was a one-page spread on the MOBO Awards. The MOBO Awards is the Music of Black Origin Awards, and it's a fundamental award show for the black music industry in the UK. I remember going to the award shows and the after parties. We did some business with them, and pulling up at the back of one of these 5-star hotels to go to the award show.
Okay.
And BBK, Boy Better Know, are jumping out of a Ford Fiesta.
What?
Like the illest hip-hop outfit, like grime outfit in the world, jumping, like a bunch of them jumping out of a Ford, right? This would have been a decade ago.
Yeah.
So why do we not have the young artists here? And the artists here can really spit like freak dope. This guy Menon, is that his name? Menon?
Menon, yeah.
He's really talented.
I love Menon.
I only know a couple of his records, but I'm like, all right, I've seen that before.
Yeah.
I saw that in London 10 years ago. I've seen that in other parallel universes.
Yeah.
Why did they not have?
Can we talk about Menon for a second?
Well, I don't know him that well to talk about him.
I wanna just maybe take your advice on it. So Menon is half Sri Lankan, half Filipino.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, in a place where, let's just face it, Dubai. Look, everyone, you know, these two especially kind of communities, they're being looked down at. Let's just say, in a way, right? So what's his truth? And I always tell him that, and I hope he sees this. I think he should rep the Sri Lankan and Filipino kind of clothing, kind of vibe, and start speaking to these people.
He didn't do any of that. He just make hit records.
I hear you.
That's dead simple. And here's the weird thing. I used to live in Toronto.
He has a hit record.
I used to live in Toronto in 2000. I need to hear it. 2003, 2004. I'd love to hear his record. 2003, 2004 when I was in Toronto. Come what may, the whole Toronto hip-hop scene was probably 24 guys, of which my friend Cardinal Official was at the top of the kind of food chain, you could argue.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Why do we not have that knowledge being harvested by young artists here? Why do we not have a podcast where a young artist here would call a JME or a Skepta in the UK and be like, can we just go back 7 years to when things just started to go really well for the industry? What happened? Then call up Cardinal and be like, okay, when you were building that industry, you and Solitaire and Chocolate and all these other guys, when you were building this industry on your backs and America was running it and you're on America's doorstep, you're 1 hour's flight from New York and you can't get your records blown up, what did you do? If you look at people that are just a couple of years ahead and work with them and get their information, even if 20% of it's applicable in this market, and this is a very mature market,
It is.
you're gonna win. Because don't forget, Canada, Cardinal was trying to push his music in the early 2000s when the internet and broadband wasn't where it was. There wasn't smartphones.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All this London in the UK, that whole scene, that whole grime scene from Dizzy Rascal right in like 02, 03, right through to the iPhone coming out in 07, 08, 09, there was that whole gap where people were grinding it out. There is so much knowledge to be harvested. Now let me be super practical.
I hear you.
Right, let me be really practical. Where is the Dubai Middle Eastern Hip Hop Conference? Like Jack the Rapper. Where is it?
Yeah.
Like, do you know how much that would cost in this market to pull off? 10,000 dirhams. I'll give you 10,000 dirhams to do it. I'll pay 10,000 dirhams to host the whole thing just so that I can attend, and everybody else can come in for free.
Wow.
Right?
But
where is that?
Yeah.
Where there are panels and there has to be one thing about the panels. You can talk all the truth you want. No complaining, no negativity on stage. You can talk all the truth you want. We can speak reality.
Make it.
But you can't be like, our industry in the Middle East just doesn't provide for this and da. Then I want to see this. Once a month, without fail, on a SoundCloud account, I want to see a 6 to 8 track EP come out with only collaborations. That's it. I don't want to see any of this.
I think
give me 1,000 likes and I'll release my record. I want a new record every week. Tak, you know Tak?
Yeah, of course. Tak, Shebani.
Phenomenal
Nice
artist.
collaboration right there.
Yeah.
Amazing guy.
Tak is as good an artist as anyone in the world.
He's very dope.
I need a record every week on a Monday.
And
I don't want any of the schematics or I want this many likes, Give me a record. God gave you the ability to rap as good as any rapper in the world. Doesn't matter whether you think it's good or bad. I need a record every Monday.
Would Tak remind you of yourself when you were younger?
No, Tak's talent level is way further than mine was when I was his age.
I'll tell you, so I bumped into Tak, I think 4 years ago when I first came here, 3 years and a half ago, when I came here, and he didn't look like that now. And he told me, he's like, Big House, I follow your work, big up to you. I'm gonna be the best rapper in Dubai.
Yeah.
So see that,
and he might well be.
You know, like we actually sat down here, and he pitched his case towards, I should be considered of one of the top 3 rappers in Dubai.
He shouldn't.
And
he shouldn't.
Huh?
He shouldn't.
No, I'm telling you. That's what I said to him. No, he's like, okay, I'll prove to you. And he made me hear some songs that are not out yet.
I saw the episode.
Yeah.
But to be the best, he needs to be. You know, KRS has got that thing. Oops, sorry, I lied. I'm number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah.
Tak needs to do that, and the only way he can do that is a record a week for 52 weeks. of which, because of his talent level,
And he is, I think, doing that now.
yeah, because of his talent level, out of those 52 records, 39 will be great. That's it.
So
that's how you become number one. Like, so where's the rap conference?
Yeah.
Where is the weekly ciphers, and where is the EP that comes out digitally at no cost, where everyone collaborates for free?
Yeah.
Because that's what happened in the UK. Rappers collaborate. You were at this Adidas event the other day, right?
Yes.
And you were with some big artists, Jib and people like that,
Jib,
right?
Freak, Tamer. And,
I saw Jib did a freestyle, right?
Yeah.
You know when Wiley was battling Kano in alleyways and on steps?
Yeah.
That needs to happen every week here. So
Here.
if you go to Adidas, you tell Adidas, hey, listen, we're going to need an extra 15,000 dirhams. For that, we're going to stay an extra 30 minutes with all these artists. We're bringing a camcorder, and we're all just going to pass the mic, and we're going to put it online. And in the future, whether Tak, Freak, Menon, or any of these young cats goes international, like Drake level or Skepta level international, you look at that grimy ass piece of footage from 2019, and Adidas get all the upside. If you don't copy the things that these other markets have done, then you can't go beyond them. I always say to my clients, like, before you try and reinvent the wheel, show me you can make a wheel.
No, that's right. Yo, by the way, this is kind of happening here, but on a more like personal level. Yeah, they're doing it. A couple of weeks ago,
I don't care about. I'm so busy, and I'm a hip hop fan who's got resources to put behind the game. I can get a Raekwon on the phone or a Cardinal on the phone and say, hey guys, I need you to come through here. Something really interesting is happening. Can you come over for Soul DXB? Right? And they'll come. Here's the thing. The market doing it personal to personal is no good. The market needs to make so much noise that when I'm sat in a boardroom in DIFC, one of my staff brings me this record and goes, yo, Menon, Freak, and Tak, and these are the only rappers I know, I guess, and P Storm.
Yeah, P Storm, the recipe.
These are the only rappers I know. They're all on a track together, and that's it. That's all I need. It's so basic.
Yeah. Look, I hear you, and there are like collaborations out there. Like there's the, so Menon, I'm not sure. Have you ever heard Menon?
I had 2 of his records and both were brilliant.
Which one? Regular?
I couldn't even tell you.
Okay. Have you heard something like that?
Play it for me.
So we're also, I think production plays a big element in it, so that we have like a lot of amazing producers here, whether it's AY from the Harmony.
AY is very good, yeah.
And Rayyan Bayrouni, who's producing a lot of amazing content for a lot of amazing artists. So both of them. So,
who's the one that did Mandy and the Girl? Mandy and the Jungle?
Mandy and the Jungle?
Yeah, so there's a guy called Namdi, and then there's a rapper.
Namdi, yeah.
No, Namdi's boy.
Santi, you mean?
Santi,
Oh.
he's very good.
The album. Santi is now... Khalas, he made Remy K, another one.
Remy K's got a song on that Purple tape. I know that's Raekwon's album, but like on that Purple project, that is phenomenal.
Yeah,
but we just need more of it.
Yeah, true.
Do you remember in the 90s?
Yeah.
You'd have on any given 1 month period, a new artist came out that changed culture forever.
Yeah.
Whether it was Nas, then Lauryn Hill comes out, then Fushnikins come out, right? But there is that much talent in this region.
There is, man.
And that's between English and Arabic.
Yeah.
I don't know what Freak's talking about, but I'm like, I get it.
Yeah, love it. Look, it's mind-boggling for me. But what you said, I think right now, especially when it comes to hip-hop, it's things that, people tried to do it, but never really was able to do it. For example, there's this thing called step music that happened 3 years ago. There was a step music conference.
Yeah.
There was actually a music conference, but it didn't have a lot of footfall. Maybe it wasn't promoted well. That's something else as well. There's ideas, but how do you promote it? How do you push it? How do you make sure that people are coming in? Dubai is a place where you have to make sure, for example, drinking culture is there. There's a lot of things that
you don't need any of those things. All of these dudes live in reasonable apartments and houses. They just meet up, Pioneer DDJ-SX into a mixer, 1 person DJs, 2 or 3 microphones, they pass them around, they video it.
Yeah.
Once those videos connect with people, and of course the music has to be good, and the rhymes and the bars and the verses have to be good. At some point, somebody will say, when are you going to do that in Amongst Few Cafe? And then they just reach out, they show the comment to the Amongst Few guys, and they go, listen, we've had 12 comments here that they want us to do this in your coffee shop. So now all of a sudden, those 12 people that said they would come to the coffee shop, the 3 rappers do it, the cameras are still on, and now it goes. Now, I'm not sure which venue would or wouldn't allow you to do it, but it would happen. It's just, bro, we have to go back to basics. I just love how, I love how it's basic. It is basic. I mean, it's true. We're able to do it, and so this is a little bit of Menon.
I'm not sure if this is the song you heard it. Regular. The new ones, yeah.
So here's what I do remember. The one I saw him, he was just freestyling and joking around in a microphone. And then I think he said at the end Menon, or somebody wrote it's Menon. And I was like, oh man, this guy's really good.
Yeah, he's...
So it would have been about 3-4 weeks ago.
The red mic?
Yeah, he was just rapping into a mic, and he was just really good. I never heard of him, but I was like, yo, this kid is really really rap.
Again, man, I mean, speaking about hip-hop, for you, Raj, what is it about hip-hop that got to you? As, you know, obviously, you're an entrepreneur, you're into tech, you're into creating content, all that stuff. But hip-hop, for you, what was it? Like, what? Why?
Black America was the closest thing that I could relate to somebody who looked like me.
Okay.
Because I grew up in an all-white neighborhood where hip-hop was not normal. It was like, it was still like acid house, happy hardcore house, like the Hacienda and places like that in Manchester. And then it was like indie rock.
So the music that was in your surrounding, you did not relate to?
Yes, no, I could relate to. I loved it. Like Stone Roses, even like pop, Belinda Carlisle, Tiffany, Erasure, all that stuff. But there was something about the fact that I remember Ice-T Power and Ice Cube America's Most Wanted, which were like my 80s, 90s transition hip-hop things. I got pulled in through Hammer and Vanilla Ice and all that. But then once I heard all this other stuff, they were talking about being beaten up at school and being chased by a lot of people because of their ethnicity and being black. And I was like, that's my reality. Yeah. Every day when I go to school, people call me a Paki. And I even got called the N-word. And I was like, that's normal. Because we were all, in the 80s, we were all one. It didn't matter. So for me to go to school and be called the N-word, I was like, okay, fair. The only other people I get here being called the N-word negatively are actual black people. So they must be like me. So now let me go and listen to their records.
That made an impact for you?
Massive,
listening?
because it was just being a minority who gets beaten up. Yeah. So the only other people that were telling that story were everyone from, you know, Ice Cube, Ice-T. Now they were talking about being run down by other gangs, or being run down by the police, or being run down by rivals, or being disrespected by the majority population, like white racist America. Yeah. So I was growing up there was plenty of white racism where I was growing up in Salford. So I was like, okay, cool, I can relate to that. So then if these guys are going through what I'm going through, I'm very happy to just listen to their records.
Isn't it amazing when music, especially maybe in this case hip hop, makes that impact? It's powerful.
It's massive.
If you think about it.
But then I gateway drugged from that to the cockiness. Because don't forget, I'm listening to hip hop, I'm listening to Power, I'm listening to America's Most Wanted, I'm listening to The Chronic, I'm listening to Scarface, and then the Jiggy era, which is where I'm going through my hormonal change, 12, 13, 14, 15, is when, like post-Illmatic, is when Jay comes out, is when Big comes out, and they start talking about nice stuff. Like everyone's been talking about chains, and I get that, but they start talking about like YSL and Gucci and all that, and I'm like, okay, cool. So you can go from being downtrodden to actually being flyer than the people that hate on you. So now I'm like, okay, so there's a level we can go even here as well. Wow. That's the reason why 17 years old, I'm cycling to, by the time I got my money up, like hustling, I'm cycling to school on a like 1,500, 2,000 dirham mountain bike with now what would be a 15,000 dirham chain around my neck.
Wow.
Because I modeled myself on them. I had 3 models that I could model myself on. The people that didn't like me, my parents, who were very old school in that sense, like traditional, they didn't have the visibility, and then the rap game.
By the way, bless your family, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I want to say that seriously, because I think coming from where you come from, there's a stereotype about what you want to become, right? And I think they gave you that platform to become whoever you really want to become.
My mom killed it. My mom was like, I remember I'd come home with rubbish results, and she'd be like, did you do your best? And I'd be like, yes. And sometimes I'd be lying, but I'd be like, yes. And she'd go, okay, that's good enough. She wasn't like over supportive. She wasn't like,
I hear you,
know, that kind of thing. My dad the same, but they were like, I mean, my dad was way too busy in the shop, but my mom was like, did you do your best? And I was like, yes. And she was like, okay. So I was like, all right, cool.
So you don't feel pressure in a way?
None, bro.
None.
If I'm always clowning around the house, listening to music, recording stuff on VHS, recording stuff on tape, making pause tapes. And then when it came to doing like GCSE, which is what you do when you're 15, 16, doing drama, or doing A-levels in theatre. They were like, yeah, cool. When I said these are the modules I want to study, they were like, fine. Will it lead to becoming a pharmacist or a doctor or dentist or a lawyer? Absolutely not, but they just didn't care.
What do you tell the people or somebody who's listening right now who have this problem, who has some people, his parents telling him you need to do that, but he doesn't want to get into that? And he's listening to you right now.
You just need to figure out how much do you know and how much do your parents know?
What do you mean?
Like how much do you know about the world today and where you need to go?
Okay.
And if your parents know the same amount as you or more, you need to pull them into the conversation the same way you'd pull anybody into a conversation who knows more than you.
No, what if let's just face it. What if they said there's no way you'll be doing anything creative? You gotta become a doctor.
Great.
And that's the must.
Good, perfect. Then you've got to decide you're either going to go with their school of thought or you're going to do it by yourself. Every young person's third parent right now is the internet. So you've got everything that your dad knows. Let's assume that, God willing, you have a dad who's young enough to still give you time and attention, and a mum which is the same, and they go, okay, here's what we know of the world. We're well-traveled, we're educated, and you must be a doctor. Your third parent is the internet. I guarantee that your third parent knows more or has access to more information than both your biological parents put together. So you've got to consult your third parent and be like, well, they're telling me to be a doctor. Firstly, I have no interest in being a doctor. Secondly, I know that the way that 5G technology is going for mobile phones right now, I need to get ahead of the curve and invest all my time in that right now, because I know how that's going to play out. And if I become a master of 5G technology when it comes to using holograms at concerts, that's going to yield better for me than any doctor. And then you got to commit.
You know what's fascinating? For the past 20 minutes, I've been trying to get you to say something that is kind of not negative, like, and just say, yeah, you're right, you can't do that. I didn't get that answer yet.
No.
You will never hear Raj say something.
No.
There was always something.
I remember I was sat in the back of a car, and I remember telling an uncle who wasn't like, it's an Indian uncle in the sense that he's not actually biologically related to you. He's somebody that your dad grew up with in Africa.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, how are you going to, if you do theatre studies, how are you going to get onto like pharmacy or anything like that? Why don't you do proper A-levels? And I'm just thinking to myself in the back of the car, like, fuck you. Like, I already know how this plays out. I have no interest in anything in my medicine cupboard at home. Never mind, like, having to go and study it for 2 years. What do I like? Fab Five Freddy, Ed Lover, Dr. Dre, Saturday and Sunday morning, watching UMTV Raps. At some point, they're going to play a bigger role for me than any pharmacy course. And right now, do you know what's really ironic about being nearly 40 years old now in the game and moving around in the corporate world the way that I do around the world? How many people I'm able to break the ice with and build with on a corporate level, deal-making level, based on hip-hop music.
Wow, I was just, subhanAllah,
Yeah.
I heard you say this one time.
Yeah.
You were interviewing Gary.
Yeah.
And you were telling, I think it was with Brianna, I'm not sure really. You were saying something that all the questions lined up exactly according to what what you wrote. Has answers led to the next question?
VaynerWorld 2016, it was like, well, firstly, we dressed the same through some freak coincidence. And secondly, it was me and him were Ray and Ghost that day. Every single thing that I asked, he answered and then laid up the next question, which was literally in the order of the cards that I had.
That's crazy.
And I was like, this is wild.
That's a sign.
You just hit a lick that time,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Which brings me to this question: is hip hop and entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
What's the common? Because I really feel there's a lot of common there. Like
hip hop is hip hop when it comes to music. Okay, let me say this right. Hip hop is the startup industry of all music genres. What is a startup? A startup is when there's a new idea, a new company, a new offering, product or service for an audience or customer base that doesn't exist. When hip-hop came around, there was no pre-hip-hop.
No.
It was based on disco, it was based on sampling.
Yeah.
But there was no hip-hop.
No.
And there was no audience for hip-hop. In the same way that there was no online video prior to online video, and there was no audience for online video. No one was saying, can we hurry up with this internet so we can start watching videos? But when it came along, the products found the customers, the customers found the products, and then that fusion moment happened, and it's a one-way street in society and in human history. We are never going to now live in a world without online video. So it's the same with hip-hop. Hip-hop is the startup world. Hip-hop is, this is West Coast rap. This is rap from the South. This is rap from the East. This is rap about consciousness. This is rap about gangbanging.
Yeah.
This is rap about finance and entrepreneurship. This is rap about lyrical talent. Okay, where's the audience for it? The audience step up and say, I'm interested in that. They meet at shows, they connect, they buy the CDs, and now you've got it. That's the connection between hip-hop and entrepreneurship. It's DIY culture. It's come up with an idea and then find an audience for it and then iterate. Why do people complain about hip-hop not being as good as it was back in the day? Is because there's spin-off products within hip-hop that are not for the originators. There are people right now that still only go on Facebook only for the pictures and not for any of the news. They're the old school hip-hoppers. But there are people that go on Facebook now only for the news and don't follow anybody's pictures. The same way that people go into the hip-hop industry now only to listen to boom bap and not trap music. But there are other people that love trap music. You might be under 25 years old and live your life based on what 21 Savage and Migos say, and you have no interest in Curtis Blow.
Yes. Yeah.
That's the connection.
That's a fact. It's interesting. You said you were able to break so much like ice using hip hop when you're speaking in the corporate world. Do you remember anything you can share with us? Like what kind of examples do you use? Like
it's crazy. Maybe not necessarily hip hop, but around that.
Okay.
So I guess music was the biggest segue for me. About 3 months ago, a very good friend of mine in the corporate world.
Okay.
I sat down at a table with him, and he was sat with a multi-billionaire here in Dubai.
Okay.
So my friend takes me over to him. He's like, yo, this is Raj Kotecha. This billionaire is in his 80s. My friend takes me over to him. He's like, yo, this is Raj Kotecha. You must talk to him. This guy goes, Wallah, I don't want to speak to him. He's an Arab dude. I don't want to speak to him. I don't speak to anybody. I'm like, why are you sitting me next to the guy? It's like, man, this is really awkward. I'm telling my friend, I'm like, clearly this old man doesn't want to talk to me. He says to me, I don't want to be disturbed. Leave me alone, Wallah. I was like, all right, fine. I was like, listen, this is really awkward, right? He wants us to talk about social media and technology and branding and where the market's going. Reality is, you're over 80 years old, right? He goes, yeah. I said, you must have been to some wicked parties in the 60s and 70s. Then we start talking about disco. Then we start talking about funk.
What?
Then we start talking about reggae, right? That's where the connection happened. And at the end of it, he gave me his card.
What?
And he was just like, it was a real pleasure talking to you. I'm like, it was a pleasure talking to you. Like, that's where the icebreaker comes in. That's where, because music is a universal language and it really is good for building bridges between people that otherwise would have nothing. Not only would they not have something in common, but actually it might be two human beings whose actual chemistry at that time involves one of them not wanting to talk to the other completely. And it still broke through. And this guy, prior to even wanting to talk to me, he literally gave me a 2,500 dirham glass of wine, one glass, 2,500 dirhams, just to make me go away. He was like, have some wine, just relax, don't talk.
Wow.
Imagine that.
Man. Yeah, yo, thank you for sharing that. That's, I think, it's like a movie moment.
It is, and crazily so. Like when you're saying, like,
what was your friend's reaction?
No, he was proud of it. He thought he did it. He was like, I told you guys would get along. I was like, fuck you. I had to try every single relationship building angle, just so this guy wouldn't like punch me and break his own wrist. Like it was like, but it's one of those things. Like, it's just true, right?
Oh man,
music plays such a big role in most people's lives.
Okay, so we're gonna go left here. Okay, I'm not sure if this is gonna stay in or not, but since you talk about bridging cultures, I am releasing a mixtape called Al Jisr, which means in Arabic the bridge. It's my third volume right now. I've done already two. Third, so I wanna.
Are you rapping on it?
I wanna drop from you.
You wanna drop from me? But I wanna make sure I say jizzle right, because if I say that wrong,
Al Jisr.
How do you spell that?
Al
J-I-S-R.
Al Jisr.
Jizr.
Yeah.
This is Raj Kotecha. Okay, should I do it?
Right here.
This is Raj Kotecha, and you're listening to the Al Jizr mix. Oh, fucked it.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yo, made by Big Hass and DJ Lethal Skills.
Lethal Skills, okay.
That's it.
Yo, this is Raj Kotecha, and you're listening to the Al Jizr remix? Motherfucker.
Mixtape.
Yeah. Did I say it right, though? I'm tripping off the Al Jizr.
No, Al Jisr is right.
Yeah. Al Jizr.
Al Jisr.
Jizr.
Jisr.
Jizr.
Jisr.
Okay.
That's it.
This is Raj Kotecha, and you're listening to the Al Jizr mixtape, mixed by DJ Big Hass and DJ Lethal Connection. What's his name?
I love you.
I
love this guy.
It again. What's his name? Lethal
That's
what?
a good name.
Yeah.
Lethal Connection, good name.
Yeah.
Lethal Skills.
Lethal Skills.
Oh,
Okay.
that's funny. It's so you're hilarious. Okay, so
Hold up.
This is funny. Mixed by DJ Lethal Skills.
Yeah.
And brought to you by Big Hass.
Okay.
I keep pushing.
Yo, this is Raj Kotecha, and you're listening to the Al Jizr mixtape, mixed by DJ Lethal Skills, and brought to you by the homie Big Hass. Enjoy this. You're just gonna rip the audio out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Yeah, maybe
I
we do
just
that
might
one
keep
more.
the video.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
big up to you, brother.
Yeah. No worries.
Peace, guys. Big Hass here. Thank you so much for watching side A of the Raj Kotecha Buckle Up interview. We realize it's a really long one, a lot of amazing stuff over there. So we made part 2 that you can watch right here, somewhere right here in that box or in the description below. Let's go. Buckle up.